organisms that can utilize copper, right, microorganisms and stuff, do you see an abundance or increase in the number of organisms, bacteria that can utilize the copper?
It's a really good question, because that's happened. So when there's a toxic substance present, it kills off things that are susceptible to it, and things that aren't susceptible remain. So yes, there is a microbiologist at Michigan Tech who has looked and finds just a very limited number of types of bacteria that exist in the sediment.
Mm-hmm.
Usually sediments are full of bacteria, all sorts of different types.
Mm-hmm.
There's very few types in here that can exist. They have a sheen of copper around their cell. So their cell is coated with the copper, and that's how they prevent the copper from going into the cell and poisoning, as they coat it on their outsides. And the same thing happens in the lake water. We add copper to some lakes to kill algae. If there are too many algae, we add copper to kill them. It also kills the zooplankton. In this lake, there's been enough time, over 100 years with high copper, so all the susceptible algae and zooplankton have died and been replaced by ones that are resistant to that. So in the lake sediments, we can look down deep enough and we can find the old zooplankton that are no longer here because they were susceptible to the copper. You said, what's the worst problem?
Yeah.
Well, the biggest problem is this dead sediments. That's the biggest, hardest problem to solve. So in that sense, it's the worst problem. But as a person living around here, that doesn't really affect you. What does affect you is if you tried to eat the fish from here that had high mercury or high PCBs in it. So in that sense, the contaminated fish are the biggest threat to human health.
I have a question, Noel.
Yeah.
Lake Lindenberg gets their water from wells right over here. Does the well water have any sign of contamination from what's happening over here?
No, because that's drilled outside the place where they deposited the stamp sands. So that's going down into the natural aquifers that don't have all of this copper and all of these other metals. So that's tested routinely by the State Health Department, and that's safe. But if you were to drill a well right here along the shore, if you built a house and drilled a well, you couldn't drink it. It wouldn't be safe.
A lot of those houses over there on that side do have well water, don't they?
They do, but again, the groundwater is coming from the hill above it, flowing down towards the lake. So it's not flowing out of the lake to their wells, it's flowing from uncontaminated areas towards here. Same is true on this side of the lake. The water flow is down towards the lake. So the only problem would be is if you drilled wells in the stamp sands right around the lake itself.